Tonight, a tense meeting between Kensington's social housing tenants and the companies responsible for the state of their homes. Despite continued promises from those in power, thousands of people are forced to live in damp and dangerous conditions.
This is where we both sleep. I can't go nowhere else with him. It'd be different if we had a room that we could go into. We've got nowhere to escape.
Also on the programme, leaving on a sour note, buskers in Leicester Square evicted after being told their music is like psychological torture. Plus...
Go! Unbelievable, Kate. That's a great song.
The children being encouraged to make a racket on their cancer ward. And...
the hell just happened.
Amsterdam calling, we're on tour with our Eurovision hopefuls. Good evening. It was supposed to be a meeting bringing together residents in Kensington with the associations responsible for their homes. But for some, the encounter ended with a greater divide and promises dismissed as lip service. For the first time ever, an MP brought those in charge of thousands of homes and the people at their mercy together to discuss the ongoing state of their properties. Promises have again been made to improve affected housing, but as CM Ali reports, for some families, it's already been years of torture.
Hi, Natalie.
Hello.
Siam, ITV.
Nice to meet
Thank you for having me.
18 years ago, mother of three, Natalie, moved into this West London flat, believing her children would grow up here. Instead, they're getting sick here. Managed by Peabody, there's been no flooring for months because of rotting caused by damp. She also now sleeps in the living room with her 5-year-old son, Che, because of overcrowding. They can't escape the mould growing less than a metre from their heads as they sleep.
As you can see, the radiators are so rusted from the damp. Then you've got my windows that they said that they have dealt with and the case has been closed. It's not, you can see. My youngest, my 5-year-old, is now on asthma pumps. He's got a continuous wheeze of a night time. That is when it's at its worst. It's just, I don't know, it's just too much. I don't like to see him suffer. I really don't. I don't. It's too much. He's my baby. This is where we both sleep. I can't go nowhere else with him. It'd be different if we had a room that we could go into. We've got nowhere to escape.
Peabody has told ITV News that they are sorry to those who've received bad service and they'll be making repairs as soon as possible. Natalie is just one of many in Kensington and Bayswater living in an unlivable home. The problem is so acute that local MP Joe Powell has called a first-of-its-kind meeting with several of the largest housing associations in the borough and invited ITV News along.
It's partly the history of this area. You know, we're meeting just yards away from Grenfell Tower. A lot of the big housing associations were founded in this area. Notting Hill, North Kensington is kind of known for that. And we're an area of a lot of inequality. As you said, this will probably be the biggest meeting that's ever been held in this community of housing association tenants. And I want that to lead to something.
As residents and landlords begin filling the room, the feeling of hope and frustration is palpable.
We know this area is one of the wealthiest parts of the country, one of the wealthiest parts of London, and yet we have far too many homes which have damp and mould.
Shortly after, we were asked to leave for the remainder of the meeting. 2 hours later, angry tenants emerged.
I think lots of people are obviously very frustrated with the quality of service they're getting. We did hear commitments at the end from some of the housing associations, and what's going to be really important now is holding them accountable for delivering those.
But for Natalie and her family, action is desperately needed now.
Seeing that meeting last night, I suppose it's a symptom of a much larger problem, isn't it?
I mean, absolutely. We know that this problem isn't specific to West London. In fact, Uswitch, in a recent poll, found that 8 of the top 10 areas that had the most complaints about damp and mould were found all in London. So the housing crisis is not letting up. In fact, some boroughs are expected to take more than a century to clear their social housing backlog. So that's just the scale of the problem. Kwejo Tweneboa, who we all know, he's been campaigning in this area for some time now, and he was at the meeting last night, and he spoke to me, and he said that this is actually a continually, Grenfell survivors have been continually let down.
It's disappointing once again to be in a room packed with social housing tenants in this one borough who are complaining about the same sort of things. I mean, just next door is Grenfell Tower, and that happened nearly 8 years ago. And we was promised then that change would happen. Clearly, the fact that this is happening today shows that that has not been the case, and residents continue to be monumentally failed.
So exactly, that was Kwejo Tweneboa over there. The government says that its removal of planning permissions and bringing back housing targets for councils will fix the issue in the long term. But tenants are saying now that they're going to have to keep fighting for themselves.
OK, Sian, thank you. And interestingly, I know you touched on the state of flooring in social housing. We're going to be looking at that in a few minutes' time. Thank you, though. First, buskers have quite literally been handed their notice to vacate one of London's busiest areas. A company in Leicester Square started legal action against Westminster Council, criticising the noise from performers, which a judge later compared to psychological torture. Helen Keenan is in Leicester Square for us now. Helen, performers were given their marching orders today, so will that change the square?
Yes, well, you can see behind me just how busy it gets here in Leicester Square, particularly on evenings and weekends, and that is what buskers are concerned about. They rely on this hub of activity to make money. Now, they've been told as of next week they will not be allowed to perform here, just behind me, after a legal ruling. Now, Westminster Council says they want to find a fair solution, but buskers that I spoke to today have told me they need to know if there is going to be an appeal because they rely on this spot for their livelihoods.
Chasing cars around London. How you doing, London? Are you all right?
The sound of silence. Buskers will be stopped from performing in Leicester Square as of next week. And council representatives arrived today with letters informing them this space will soon shut.
If this goes and Trafalgar goes, there will be no proper street performing in Westminster. It will be gone. And particularly in London, that I think is kind of like a bread and butter and a historic place for street art. You know, comedians, performers, musicians have a lot of people have developed their art and craft from the streets.
You ever seen a blind man cross the road?
And among those who started out busking in London are artists like Rod Stewart and Ed Sheeran. But the local authority has been ordered by a judge to stop the nuisance noise.
What do you think about the ban that's coming into place next week?
Yeah, it's shocking. We just got here. My son was asking me about the performers and the music that's playing. So it's a really vibrant part of the city.
We live in London, but we're tourists for the day. Like, it just gives a nice atmosphere.
I really like the music, and I think it just brings everyone together when people are having bad days.
Westminster Council say the court ruling gives them no choice. They have a legal obligation to act. But performers have been calling on the public for support.
Do you guys think it was psychological torture? Okay, good.
I did a set about 2 days ago. I managed to get quite a good crowd, as most of us do here in Leicester Square. And the other two pitches we've been given are actually on roundabouts. This is a lot of people's happy place, is to come out and play music and make other people happy as well.
The council say street performers are a much-loved part of the city's identity, but they have to balance this with a duty to protect residents and businesses. Fadil, who lives in Leicester Square and runs a restaurant there, told us the noise has caused problems for his family.
It's like having people playing on your living room every day of the week. I've got a 1-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old son. They constantly been woken from music, you know, windows, and I'm talking about windows shut.
Buskers tell me a protest is planned for next week because they want the council to commit to an appeal. But voicing their concerns through music could be the last time they sing on this street. Helen Keenan, ITV News.
A mother from Dagenham who drowned her 2 young sons in the bath has been sentenced to life in prison. Cara Alexander murdered 2-year-old Elijah Thomas and Marley Thomas, 5, at their home in December 2022. In sentencing the 47-year-old to at least 21 years behind bars, the judge described her actions as the stuff of nightmares. Officers investigating a racist attack on a train have released CCTV images of people they would like to speak to. British Transport Police said 2 Asian men were headbutted and verbally abused on a Metropolitan line service from Wembley Park to Northwood Hills on the 16th of March. The force said the men pictured may have information that could help the investigation. And Londoners are being urged not to have barbecues, no matter how sunny and warm it may be. London Fire Brigade says the wildfire risk is heightened at the moment due to low rainfall. The service reported a 48% increase in calls last weekend compared with the same weekend a year ago. Back to the housing crisis now, and for many people, having a solid floor or intact carpet beneath their feet at home would not be considered a luxury. But it's estimated that more than 1 million adults in the country are living without flooring, most in social housing. Will Tullis is here with me now. Will, what has your investigation found?
Yeah, so essentially, Duncan, it's standard practice for social housing providers and councils to rip out carpets before new tenants move in. They often justify that on hygiene, health and safety grounds, and that happens even if the carpets are in perfectly good condition. And essentially the issue is it's then up to the new tenants to find and fit their own carpets, their own expense. And we're talking about social housing, so obviously the people moving into those properties are often some of the most vulnerable in society who have the least money. And, you know, it's really hard for people to afford that, and they're having to prioritise things like heating, food and furniture before carpet. So we spoke to Ashley, who's a single mum from near Hatfield. She'd been living without carpet for 6 years, and here's what she had to say to us.
My daughter, she's old enough to have friends come over, and they're always asking her, oh, why don't you have carpet, or why don't you have flooring? It's quite embarrassing for her. This room in particular, I don't really mind about the other rooms, but this room in particular should be the safest space because it's the children's, where it's not.
So we also met Paya from St Albans, and she's on a one-woman mission to find and fit carpets for people who can't afford them. She's doing this all in her own time and with her own money, and she's made a desperate plea to social housing providers. If the carpet's in good condition, leave it in. Here's what she had to say to us.
Say, for example, you haven't got a floor, it makes you a bit miserable. You'll go to the NHS, you might ask for antidepressants, you might hurt yourself on the floors, they're dangerous. That's NHS money, all from taking up flooring. And the big spin-off, social workers, health visitors, leave the flooring, leave the people happier. It's a no-brainer, you save money.
And politicians are now starting to take notice of this issue, aren't they, Will?
Yeah, that's right. We spoke to Danny Beales, who's Labour MP for Uxbridge. He actually spent parts of his childhood living with homelessness and in furniture poverty. So for him, his experiences are very personal, and he's urging government to make furniture and proper flooring a priority.
A decent, good home can't just be bricks and mortar. You know, it can't just be the walls and the roof. What we should mean by that, right, is the basics you need to live a decent standard of life, and that includes decent flooring.
Yeah, so Ashley, the single mum we heard from earlier, eventually had carpets fitted thanks to Paya, but there was a happy ending for her. But the issue is there's hundreds of thousands more tenants around the country who simply can't afford that luxury to have carpets in their homes.
No. And Will, I know you've got more on your investigation at 7 o'clock on the evening news, but for now, thank you. Still to come on the programme, the Sutton Hospital that's turned its corridors into courts for young cancer patients, and
The hell just happened.
how Surrey Girl Band Remember Monday are hoping to make an unforgettable impression ahead of next month's Eurovision final. But first, let's take a look at the weekend sport now.
Zero Accounting Software sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Chelsea's women are in FA Cup semi-final action tomorrow, looking to regain the trophy they won 3 times in a row between 2021 and 2024. The 5-time champions take on Liverpool. The winners of that tie will face either Manchester City or Manchester United in next month's final. 3 London clubs are in Premier League action tomorrow when Crystal Palace travel to Manchester City at lunchtime and the late game sees Arsenal take on Brentford. On Sunday, Chelsea host Ipswich Town, Spurs go to Wolves and runaway leaders Liverpool take on West Ham at Anfield. My guest tonight has built a successful career sending shivers down people's spines. From writing star-studded West End thriller 222 A Ghost Story to investigating real-life tales of paranormal goings-on, Danny Robins is the king of creepy. Now he's taking his podcast Uncanny from his Walthamstow shed to the stage in a new tour. Before we speak to him, here's a flavour of what we can expect from his hit podcast.
Do you believe in ghosts? I'm going to say no. So you don't believe in ghosts, but your story is a ghost story? It is a ghost story.
Did you see the man again?
Yes.
It's definitely spooky. Welcome to you, Danny. Tell us how your show On the Road differs then from the podcast there.
Yeah, good question. Well, I think Uncanny is a conversation, always. It's about me telling you ghost stories, and then people come back to me with questions and theories and their own ghost stories as well. So when I go on the road, we get to do that in a theatre, and it's brilliant. I love it. So basically, we take out some real-life ghost stories that people have told me. We bring them to life with all the theatre magic that you can imagine, video projections and sound effects and flying props going across the stage. And then, yeah, the audience get a chance to tell their stories as well. We sit in the room and we hear some amazing stories that people come out with.
What's quite rare, I suppose, is you actually get sceptics in the room as well, don't you? You do sort of test and challenge.
Well, that's the thing I love about Uncanny, that it brings people together. You've got these really divided camps, skeptics and believers, and everyone comes together and enjoys the stories in their own way. And yeah, we've got our skeptic expert, Kieran O'Keefe, and our believer expert, Evelyn Hollow. They come round with me on tour everywhere we go. And yeah, I mean, I think, you know, whatever you feel, these stories are intriguing. They're moments of human drama, and you can enjoy them just as much if you're a skeptic.
London's pretty inspiring for ghost stories, isn't it? We have quite a few.
It is great, yeah. I mean, I live in Walthamstow, a place full of ghost stories as well, a place with a lot of long history. Alfred Hitchcock, the great horror maker, came from Walthamstow as well. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I played at Theatre Royal Drury Lane on the last tour. That is a theatre that's meant to be the most haunted theatre in the entire world, I'm told, actually. Some great stories about there's a smell of lavender at certain points. It is said to be the ghost of Dan Leno, the great pantomime dame, coming back. And he wore this lavender perfume, so whenever you smell that, that is him coming back. And a grey person as well, who's appears around wearing a grey shroud, and they actually found a bit of grey material when they were digging up the theatre. So yeah, you know, London is the capital of ghost stories.
Do you believe?
It's a good question. I am a skeptic who would like to believe. That's what I always say. I would love it to be true. I love the idea that death is not the end. And I think that's what drives me on. I love the idea there's something more out there and that we might carry on, but also that people that we've loved and lost might carry on as well.
I mean, you're really searching, aren't you? You went out to Hampton Court Palace and were looking for electromagnetic waves, is it?
No, absolutely. Yeah. Well, these are the different skeptic theories we have. So that was looking at, the way electromagnetic energy might possibly make you imagine you are being haunted. So Hampton Court, one of the most haunted buildings in the country, allegedly, and actually the spot where people get most affected, where people actually faint believing that they've got a ghost appearing around them, is the place where this EMF energy, this electromagnetic field, is the strongest. So really intriguing. But yeah, I'm going all around London's haunted spots. I'm doing the Royal Albert Hall as well this Halloween. I am doing this show called Fright Night, which is a kind of celebration of that place. And that is a place with amazing ghost stories as well. I mean, some of the best ghost stories in the capital, I think, reside there. They had a séance at one point in 1930 where they tried to summon the ghost of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the Sherlock creator as well. So we're going to try and bring that back to life, kind of recreate that on the night.
Wow. Very briefly, we should mention 222, A Ghost Story, such a huge success for you.
It's been amazing. And again, that starts right here in the West End. You know, it was incredible. We did that during lockdown. We were one of the first things to come back in a theatre when you could sit in a theatre again. Lily Allen starred in it. And now, 3 or 4 years later, it's still going. It's been on 5 continents around the world, and it's coming back out on tour in August. And I think it's playing various places, Woking and Richmond, and travelling all around. So
brilliant.
Yeah, come and
Danny, thank you very much. Have fun scaring audiences around London. Great to have you in.
Thank you.
Thanks. Some young patients on the cancer ward of the Royal Marsden have taken control of the hospital's corridors to perfect their tennis skills. A local coach has been volunteering to give children who have limited access to the sport the chance to get moving and sharpen their serves. Here's Rags.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
3.
Playing with cancer.
Go!
And serving hope.
Unbelievable.
What was playing tennis like?
Good.
How fun was it?
Very.
What was the best part?
I hit the golden ball with my racket.
I saw that. That's really amazing. Great celebrations.
Kane is 9 and was found to have stage 4 stomach cancer last year.
High five, champ.
But in the halls of the Royal Marsden Hospital in Sutton, there is some time to play.
3, 2, 1, go! Oh, unbelievable!
This is corridor tennis, keeping children stuck inside the cancer hospital, the medicine of games.
Oh, unbelievable! It's gone through the corridor.
What's it like seeing Kane play tennis?
I mean, we've been quite poorly. We've been like on a ward and then we've been put in isolation. But it's really quite nice to see Kane up and about, playing, and he absolutely loves tennis.
Very good.
He loves sports. He loves doing all this sort of stuff.
Morning, guys.
The sessions are run voluntarily by tennis coach Andy Jeffrey.
Are you good? Excellent. You ready for some tennis? As soon as they walk around the corridor here, big smiles on their face, loads of energy, and I just wish I had their energy.
And I guess, it's quite almost like an obvious question. Hi, Kane. But how important it is to do a bit of exercise when you're stuck in a hospital?
I'd imagine for these guys, it's great just to break up the routine of being in school and sort of having their treatment, and it's a chance for them to meet me and play a sport that they might not play before, they might have played, and this is definitely slightly different versions, probably what they played. And go! It's going. 3 Skittles. How good was that?
What was it like playing tennis?
Good.
What was so good about it?
It was so good about it because I hit the golden ball.
You want another go?
Yeah.
6-year-old Alexander Korber is on his 4th round of chemo after cancer was discovered in his chest last Christmas.
It's amazing to see him playing tennis or other sports, or being so active and living his life as normal as it could be. It's really great.
How much do they enjoy it?
Yeah, as I think you saw today, they love it. They love it. Oftentimes we suggest it and they kind of look at us like, what are you talking about? But as soon as they kind of get up and get involved, they love it.
2, 1, go!
Surrey Tennis is now providing more funding for these sessions. In these corridors, children live with cancer, but they're still able to play like kids.
Unbelievable, Kane. That's a great shot. Great shot, champ.
Rags Martel, ITV News at the Royal Marsden Hospital, Sutton.
On to the weather now. We heard that warning from the fire brigade earlier about having barbecues this weekend, and there will be a little bit more sunshine. Here's Philippa now with the forecast.
A clear start makes way for a day of ancient discoveries. TUI sponsors ITV London Weekend Weather.
Hello there. Well, it really has been a beautiful day to round off the working week. More of the same as we start the weekend, but then things will turn increasingly unsettled and with it somewhat cooler as well. And that's because the high pressure that's been with us will slowly slip away eastwards. In its place, low pressure takes over, various fronts drifting in from the Atlantic over the next few days. And those fronts providing the focus for thicker cloud, outbreaks of rain, interspersed with some showery conditions. But for now, things remain very quiet. Through the rest of this evening and tonight, it's going to be dry, clear skies overhead, light winds as well. And as a result, temperatures will take a bit of a tumble. So I think for just about all of us, back down into single figures. And dare I say, 1 or 2 out-of-town spots could well dip low enough for a touch of patchy frost by dawn. So a bit of a chilly start to Saturday, but blue skies initially, some lovely sunshine to kick off the weekend. Into the afternoon, we'll see a bit more cloud drifting our way, but it will be high cloud, so perhaps just turning the sunshine a little hazier as the day wears on. And with that in mind, temperatures still doing really well, up to around 23, perhaps locally 24 Celsius. But do beware, of course, UV levels are up in the moderate category now. That sun is starting to get some real strength to it. Now, it's overnight into Sunday where we'll see thicker cloud and the first signs of some rain coming our way. And that will really set the tone for the days that follow. Certainly as we head into the new week, it'll set to remain pretty changeable. Showers or longer spells of rain coming our way, a little breezy at times too. And despite those highs up in the low 20s tomorrow, it's all changed through Sunday and into the new week with temperatures closer to average, probably hovering in the mid-teens at best. Do take care. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors ITV London weekend weather.
Finally this evening, from a Surrey sixth form to one of the biggest stages in the world. The UK entry for Eurovision are fine-tuning their harmonies ahead of next month's final. Remember Monday, a girl band who met at school in Farnborough are warming up with a whistle-stop tour of Europe to drum up support and hopefully avoid nil point on the night. With exclusive access, Mike Pearce spoke to them in Amsterdam.
Clutch my pearls like what the hell just happened?
It's a song they hope will prove to be a hit all over Europe. For our 2025 Eurovision entry, the really hard work is now underway. Remember Monday are travelling to as many countries as they can to promote themselves, like here at this massive Eurovision event in Amsterdam.
It's been busy, but we are honestly, we said this last time we saw you, but we are honestly having the best time of our lives. Yeah. All of this is so much fun for us and we're loving the kind of buzz, and we've met a few people now who are also competing.
So lovely.
It's going to be so fun.
It's overwhelming, but in the best possible way.
Well, I think it's fair to say this is nothing short of organised chaos, but it is significant for the contestants. Remember, we can't vote for our own countries, so they come to Europe to try to drum up support, and that's exactly what's happening here, with lots and lots of interviews with foreign media.
It's crazy out there, isn't it? We've had to take him into a different room.
It's really overwhelming. It's amazing, though. I mean, it's so much fun. Look at them all in there. There's so many people. We literally walked out like, hello, and then we just stood behind other people who were like, this feels safe. We're feeling really, really overwhelmed with such lovely comments that even from people that maybe aren't in love with the song, but they'll be like, but wow, these girls can sing, or, you know, it feels like there's so much positivity, which we just feel incredibly, incredibly grateful for.
Most of this year's contestants are also here. So what do they, including these Jedward lookalikes from Iceland, think about our song?
What the hell just happened? I love it. I love it. It's a very good song. So good.
I was studying in London. I do consider UK to be a mecca of pop music, and you are delivering every year, and I'm sure you will deliver this year.
Fans from the region have also come to Amsterdam.
The British song, I love it. I absolutely love the girls. I've followed them for years beforehand, so when they were announced, I was so excited.
This gives them a chance to show what they really got, to find out what the fans are looking for and how the fans react to the song.
Remember Monday met when they were students at the Farnborough Sixth Form College. Now it's just a month to go to the big Eurovision night, the biggest singing contest in the world.
Now Europe, so it's quite into the serious stages now.
Yes, which is how amazing that we get to travel Europe, promoting, you know, our song. We are constantly feeling like we need to wake up from our dreams.
In Amsterdam, they gave it their best in front of a 6,000-strong crowd. And the reception in the auditorium could not have been better. Next month, Europe will decide. Mike Pearce, ITV News, Amsterdam.
And that is it from us. The evening news is next with Charlene. From all of us in London, have a lovely weekend. Enjoy the last of the sunshine.